Hi Gemini, welcome to your April 2025 AstroTarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. So April is offering you a moment of calm, especially amidst the whirlwind of sort of energy that we're in. You thrive in the chaos anyway, right? Because you are such a quick-witted and quicksilver kind of energy. After the intensity of March, though, I think it's going to be very welcome for all of us to have that sort of downtime. This month really provides you with an opportunity for reflection, to regroup and realign yourself and your goals as well. It is quieter, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's any less impactful or meaningful. The transit really is encouraging clarity in your career, your social connections, and definitely with a greater sense of purpose. So let's get straight into it. If you are new to my channel, my name is Raphael. I am an astrologer, tarot reader, numerologist, and energy worker, for those of you that would like to know. If I am talking about astrology, I'm always talking about whole sign, tropical, Western astrology, for those of you that would like to know. If I ever don't give you the dates of the transits or the degrees of the transits, you will be able to find all of that in the description box below. And if you would like to book your personal session with me, you can do so on the links in the description box below. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So the first transit that we are going to explore, so those will be for your lunations, and this will be for the bulk of your read. But the first transit that we're going to explore is on the 11th. So it kind of comes exact on the 11th, but actually this transit really starts on the 9th, give or take where you are in the world, and that is Mercury, your ruling planet, is going to come into a conjunction with the North Node in the sign of Pisces in your 10th house, right? So this is you effectively, because you are Mercury coming into the 10th house of your career, which means in some way, shape, or form, you personally are going to be, right? Because Mercury rules your ascendant and it also rules your 4th house. So it rules your outer self, like your, vehicle of your body, if you like, but it also rules your inner self of your emotions. Now, because Mercury is there in Pisces at the top of your sky, you, right, because the 10th house is the most visible, the most public version of self, you yourself are going to be that much more visible to the world, right? You're going to be on stage, whether you want to be or not, in some way, shape, or form. Let me just get rid of this. So this is just so that you can see the board nicely and all of that good stuff, but I'm still here, right? So because your 10th house is the most visible part of you, right? It's the most visible aspect of you, and the Mercury represents you. You are going to be that much more visible on this wider world stage. People are seeing you in a greater sense, and also in a greater sense of clarity. Now, because the 10th house represents your career, your reputation, and the North Node represents an amplification point, but it also represents a fated experience in some regard. So coupled with your planet, which represents communication, conversation, all manner of information changing hands, but it also represents money, right? Remember, Mercury is the transactional flow of commerce and trade, and as such, these things could all amplify for you at this moment in time, especially around things like property, real estate, living situation, and also maybe monetizing yourself in some way, shape, or form. Now, the North Node, with that connection to the North Node, you might receive really important news about your work, about your public image. It could be that an opportunity of some kind, opens up for you at this time. Mercury, as the ruler of that 1st house of self and the 4th house of home, family, property, real estate, it could also manifest as a pivotal decision that really impacts both your professional life and also your personal life, right? There could be stuff going on with the family that is fated in some way, shape, or form. Pay close attention to the conversations that you have with authority figures, with your bosses, with your father as well. You know, if you're still in contact with that, you know, masculine principle of your parentage, let's say, they could really point you in a direction of a major opportunity, or through a conversation with someone like that, you could have a really powerful realization. This is also a moment to align with your life purpose. What is calling you forward, Gemini? What do you really feel like you are ready to put a lot of time, effort, and energy into? It's really a time as well for you to trust like the signs and the synchronicities, to really listen closely, because they're going to help you step into that next chapter of your career, your journey, right? So you've got the Ten of Swords, you've got the Page of Cups, and you've got the High Priestess. So what I will say to you is, whatever's coming to a close at this moment in time, you may not understand the fact that this is ending or coming to a close or not going ahead at this moment in time until we get into Cancer season, right? So if there is a situation that arises with a home or property matter or a career matter, let's say something comes to an end or a close, or it doesn't go ahead as planned, don't worry. And the feeling that I have from it is, it's like whatever you kind of lose out on now, you actually end up gaining on as we move forward into the year when we get into Cancer season. All right, so if there are delays or debacles around home living situations or even career situations, etc., please don't fret. All right, it just means that the timing is off, and that is it. All right, it's just that it's not a no, it's just a not right now. Okay, so the second transit that I want to explore for you is on the 12th of the month. The Sun is going to conjunct Chiron in your 11th house. Now, I haven't got a Chiron glyph here. I might have to make one. All right, so this is happening in your 11th house, and the Sun for you in your chart rules your third house. Third house is a house that you understand: communication, ideas, local travel, the websites that you use, the local shops that you go to. This is your local environment, and you know, it's also your mind. And the third house is also your skills, your skill sets, things that you can, you know, use to gain an advantage or an edge, or where you demonstrate your prowess in some way. This joins Chiron in your 11th house of friendships and aspirations. This transit's really trying to help you get a light on any of the wounds around belonging or acceptance or collaboration within your social circles, whether that's the wider social circle of the world, right, or even potentially with social media, etc. But it could also be on a friendship level, right? If you've often felt sort of different or distant from your group associations, this could be something more that's happening now. You might also have an opportunity to mend a rift in a friendship, or maybe even release feelings of insecurity or inadequacy that are tied up with group dynamics in some way. Like, and if you've been holding back, like from, you know, really getting stuck in with community and connection with people, or even just chasing a dream, this could be a moment where you're healing, like where some kind of powerful healing insight or illumination, because that's what the Sun does, right? It illuminates things. Pay attention to who or what triggers an emotional response right now, especially within all the areas that I've mentioned, because they hold a key to what needs healing for you. And through that, through accepting that or acknowledging that, it's like you step into a more confident version of yourself, potentially a more authentic version of yourself. I've never met a Gemini that wasn't authentic. I don't give a shit what people say about, oh, Geminis are two-faced and all of that stuff. That's a big stereotype. Like, I don't care about that. All the Geminis that I know, trust me, you really don't have to guess what they're thinking, because they will tell you. It's one of the things that I love about them. So for this, you've got that Eight of Cups. And you've got the Sun card. Wow, look at that, right? So you're walking away through illumination from a lie, right? So some lie, some old wound or old hurt, something that you've been a bit fuzzy on previously or not necessarily seen in the right way, could be illuminated to you. A friend could highlight something to you, and you know, maybe it just really clicks something deep inside you where you say like, wow, actually didn't realize how much I had, you know, stopped socializing, or maybe, you know, hadn't tied myself to these things because dot dot dot. This could be a really powerful realization in that regard, and it could also help you build a greater sense of partnership, relationship, connection, collaboration when it comes to friendships, wider circles, and even your social media presence. On the 15th of the month, we have a grand water trine. Now, I wouldn't usually include the moon, but because this is a grand water trine, and you know, truthfully speaking, it's a powerful one as well. And the other reason that I'm including this is because the moon and Mars and the moon are in what we call a mutual reception. So Scorpio is the ancient ruler of Scorpio is Mars. Obviously, Luna, our fair Luna, our celestial mama, rules the sign of Cancer, right, which is your second house. So this is a grand water trine across the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th. Now, if you've been with me long enough, I want you to, like, this will only be a portion of you. Cast your mind back to, I mean, many, many moons to 2018, 2019. One of the things that I used to talk about then, as I was starting to really understand astrology, is that if you do your 6th house well, your 10th house will take off and your 2nd house will benefit. These 3 houses, not just because they are, you know, the same signs or the same element of signs, but they feed each other in a way, right? And so the fact that these two are in mutual reception is very, very nice, because it means that your daily experience and your finances are improving, because your value shift, or certainly your actions, are geared towards the values that you hold, and the things that are important to you at this moment in time are in a trine to Saturn, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, Venus, and Mercury. So this harmonious grand water trine is activating your finances, your work, your career houses, right? Creating this wonderful flow of energy, stabilizing and enhancing these areas of your life. Why do I say that? Because Saturn is involved, right? Saturn and Mars trine Saturn, if you've heard me say this so many times recently, Mars trine Saturn across water signs is one of my favorite transits, because it gives incredible emotional fortitude. It gives you the power to see something through to completion. So I love that. And the fact that the moon is involved means that there's this emotional energy that is infusing all of this to really go after what you need, right? So the moon in Scorpio is lighting up your daily routines, your physical health and vitality. Mars in Cancer is energizing your money and your resources, and the planets clustered in Pisces in your 10th house. This is really helping your career benefit from all of this powerful energy. Now, it is fleeting, right? Moon transits, lunar transits, it's 2 days-ish to a sign, right? Give or take a bit more or less, depending. It's a really powerful moment for you to align your emotional self with your practical goals. And if you've been feeling like you're a bit scattered or a bit unsure of your next steps, this trine is definitely going to bring the internal clarity, the emotional clarity that you need to really go in a direction. Trust your instincts at this time. They're going to be guiding you, especially pushing you towards what strengthens your sense of security and success. What's also coming through here as well is like imbalancing your work-life schedule, reassessing your financial priorities, or exploring some kind of new work, like on a daily level or even on the career level, like new professional sort of opportunities. It's also going to help you like flow with ease and kind of find a way to let the pieces fall into place. So you've got this with the 8 of Pentacles, so this is very much focused on your work and your vocation. You've got this with the Strength card. The Strength card is number 8, so we've got 2 8s. 2 8s represents new knowledge, new information that's coming in. And then look at this, you've got the Knight of Cups. That's a solid offer that comes in. Now with that Strength card in the middle, what this says to me more than anything is whatever this opportunity is that shows up around this time, around mid-month, around the 15th of April, give or take a day either side, it feels like a part of you is going to say like, oh, you know, I don't know if I can dot dot dot, or I don't know if I am dot dot dot. You know, fill in the blank for all of your own personal brand of you know, self-sabotage, let's say. But truth be told, this is saying not only do you have the guts and the grit to go for it, but you've also got the strength and the courage to succeed at it, right? It's just about taking this new information on board and putting it into the correct sequence. On the And then the last transit that I want to explore for you is on the, not the last one, on the 18th, Mars is going to move into the sign of Leo, right? Now, this is interesting for so many reasons. Mars moving into the sign of Leo is a big deal because we haven't had this since November of 2024, right? And this is where Mars is starting to finally come out of shadow. It's not going to be fully out of shadow just like at this point, because it's still got to get past 6 degrees of Leo, but this is moving into your third house. It moves into the fire sign of Leo. This is, not only is this great because it's Mars in a fire sign where he likes to be, but it's offering a sextile energy to your ascendant, right? So what I will say to you with this is, because it's in your third house of communications, conversations, learning, short distance travel, short trips, you know, your local environment, as I was saying earlier, you will feel a surge of energy, a surge of confidence, right, in how you express yourself. Be careful, because while this is a really great time to speak your truth boldly, to share like your ideas and your passions, it's also possible that, because Mars in the third house can be harsh words, right? So just watch out for that. Now, Mars for you rules your 11th house of friendships and your 6th house of your daily habits, work and routine. It might manifest as increased collaboration with others or a stronger focus on building habits, daily routines and patterns, which the third house and the 6th house kind of have in common, right? Your 6th house is your daily grind, whereas your third house is like your workaday sort of, you know, habits and situation as well. This could be that you're building habits that support your long-term goals, right? That you see things and you say, right, I'm going to get more proactive about building this thing that I want or that I desire. And then finally, be careful, because as I say, like this can be harsh words, but it can also be because Mars is impatient, right? And now that it's in a fire sign and it's fully direct, it's like, get me the fuck forward and let me start doing my damn thing, right? Just use this time to channel your energy into constructive communication and creative pursuits that really do align with your vision for your life. For this, you've got the Empress. This is going to be a highly creative time. You've got this with the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, I love that. And then you've got this with the Ace of Cups. So the greatest message that I can give you here is, if it is worth doing, Gemini, then it is worth doing well, and it is worth taking your time over. The 7 of Pentacles with the Ace of Cups is a labor of love, something that you really just absolutely feel like, oh, you know what? Yes, this is hard work, but it's really rewarding or satisfying. It's kind of like if you've ever done any form of gardening or any form of decorating, right? It's really labor intensive, but once you finish and you've got that finished product and you can kind of stand back and go, oh wow, you know, that's amazing, right? It just is absolutely a labor of love. So keep that in consideration, right? And with the Empress card there, it's basically saying, like, if it's worth doing, do it right, but more importantly, enjoy the process of whatever you're doing, right? Like, enjoy the process of creating a labor of love, I guess is what I'm trying to say to you here. And then finally, the last one, on the 21st of the month, we have Saturn will conjunct the North Node, will conjunct Venus in Pisces. At this point, I think this will be in Aries, and then that will be moved over when we talk about the Taurus new moon, right? So all of this happening again in your 10th house. This is a rare alignment in your 10th house. Saturn is a 30-year cycle. Venus is a 19-month cycle and the North Node is a 19-year cycle. So all of those three connections that are coming into a conjunction had to go through their entire cycles all to conglomerate and connect here in your 10th house. It's a pretty big deal, right? It's highlighting the important turning point that requires dedication and discipline. Saturn's influence or energies here is kind of suggesting that hard work and restructuring might be necessary in your career and your long-term professional goals. It's also possible that Venus is bringing opportunities and connections, and they won't just fall into your lap, right? You will need to commit to a bigger vision, or maybe even make more sort of deliberate choices to align with it. But it could involve you redefining your career path, maybe setting new financial priorities, potentially even taking on a new responsibility that maybe feels heavy but also promises lasting rewards. The North Node is adding a fated quality to this, suggesting that there's a pivotal kind of feel or moment in building a career that really supports your larger monetary, financial sort of aspirations and visions and dreams. And also, it might feel like the progress is slow right now, but trust that the foundations that you're building at this moment in time are absolutely going to pay off in the long run. So for this, you've got the Five of Wands, you've got the Nine of Cups, okay, and you've got the Page of Wands. So do expect important conversations and decisions to come up at this time that will require you to be that much more present, that maybe even see you having to have, because the Five of Wands with the Nine of Cups, that could be like a hard conversation, but it's one that's worth having. It's kind of like when you're if you ever renovated a house, you reach a point where they say, right, what are we doing now, or what plans, or when you get your plans back or your structural report or whatever, you find out what you sort of can and can't do, right? So this might be a time where the information that's coming in for you is kind of helping you realize what is going to be possible and what is not. And this is kind of where you're going to be making those decisions now to say, okay, since this is what is and what isn't, I know now sort of where I stand more than ever. So that could actually be a very good thing. All right, on the 13th of the month, you will have the full moon in the sign of Libra. This for you represents your fifth house of joy, creativity, romance, pleasure, sex. It is also, your fifth house is like any of your speculative endeavors or entrepreneurial ventures. So for this, you've got the gate 21 and control. The message behind this card isn't actually about having control. It's about learning to relinquish control and knowing that the only thing in any situation that you can really control is yourself. And at this moment in time, with a full moon in Libra, because your children are also represented by the fifth house. So I will say, if you've got children, the message here is just to know that you're not going to be able to control them. Isn't it better to be their friend more than anything else, right? Because at least that way you have access to their life to kind of try and keep them on the straight and narrow. And if you are if you're like, my business is my baby, right? My business is my child. Then this could also be a time where you start to understand that the projects that you've been working on either are or are not for you, and whatever new directions you're going in, you feel a lot clearer about them now. And then on the 27th of the month, you will have a new moon in your 12th house in the sign of Taurus. This is a pretty big deal. A 12th house new moon is always a very deep time of reflection. It's also a very powerful reboot of your personal karma, where you can kind of say, okay, you know what, that chapter for me is done now, it's complete. So, and then for this, you have the Gate 12 and Caution. So, it's really funny because you're being told to release control in one and you're being told to throw caution to the wind in the other. This card isn't about caution, it's basically to say don't be too cautious, because sometimes when we are, that's what ends up sort of robbing us of the opportunities that come our way. And I'm fairly certain that we've all got at least 3 or 4 of these where we can say, like, you know, if I'd have taken that risk, if I'd have gone for this, or, you know, whatever the case might be, you know, I would have been in a completely different situation, yeah. So lots of different ways to kind of see it or to think about it, right? With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. And take care, and I will see you soon.